The Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance and its partners have on Friday commenced at the Banjul Week of Action on Climate Justice and Keep Your Promise campaign at COP28 located at the Caraba Avenue Highway besides the Commune building. This significant aims to address urgent climate change issues and facilitate discussions among stakeholders, policymakers and climate experts on national determination contributions, adaptation and mitigation measures, as well as the role of urban areas in combating climate change. Sally Kamara has more.
With only a few days remaining for parties and global stakeholders to convene in Dubai, United Arab Emirates from November 30th to December 12, 2023 for the 28th United Nations Climate Change Conference session, COP28. The Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance, in collaboration with the National Environment Agency and the Gambia Environment Alliance based in the Gambia, has launched the Banjul Week of Justice on Climate Change and Keep Your Promise campaign. The event commenced with a march past along the Caraba Avenue building to showcase solidarity in the urgent need to mitigate climate change issues. The theme for the march was preserving the 1.5 degrees Celsius goal and strengthening adaptation, loss and damage actions. During her speech at the event, Benita Sagnier, the National Designated Platform Secretariat of the Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance, provided a comprehensive overview of climate justice and explained the detrimental effects of climate change.
Climate justice for Africa is an appeal to political sector worldwide to care about the danger climate change poses to Africa. We must continue to create awareness that these political actors must act immediately. The combination of climate change, biodiversity loss, youth unemployment, food insecurity, and high level of poverty in many African countries, including Gambia, remains major danger to the nation's advances towards achieving the goals of sustainable development. These threats are further amplified by the vast rate of forest loss, faster than the rate of regeneration, unsustainable farming practices, limited awareness, non-viability of seed and seedlings for tree planting activities.
Mr. Seh Al-Kinkisanyang, the communication officer of the National Environmental Agency, addressed environmental problems related to climate change. He emphasized that climate change is an ongoing issue caused by human activities.
It's an anthropogenic activity. Climate change, all the problems caused by climate change is man-made. It's me, you, and all others who cause those problems on the planet Earth. That's why we say it's here to stay. For that matter, it's here to stay because things that should bring climate problems down are not taken forth. Things that will increase the impact of climate change are things that we are doing. So it seems, we are advocating for more climate problems to come rather than solutions to that.
Omar A. Manjang, a young farmer and a youth negotiator, brings forth compelling evidence highlighting the challenges faced by farmers due to climate change. He strongly believes that it is crucial for the Gambian government to address these issues in order to create a sustainable environment for farmers and all citizens.
So one of those things is that considering the climate agreement, putting it to have 1.5 degrees Celsius. But now, as read by our Honorable Secretary, you realize that that has been exceeded. Now we have realized the global emission has reached to a stage of 1.15 degrees Celsius. And this is a threat to the farming community for the fact that CO2, emission of CO2 at that exorbitant amount affect the development of crops. And if that is done, the food security, the food sovereignty will also put at stake.
Additionally, Abisane, a global youth advocate and a youth negotiator, stresses the urgent need to preserve the 1.5 degrees Celsius target. She reveals that increasing the number of households utilizing solar energy contributes to reducing harmful emissions.
I believe that climate change is something that we can have, despite the fact that we can have a lot of projects ongoing. But then the key, most important thing there is education. Are these people aware about climate change? What is their knowledge? Their knowledge about climate change is something that needs to be assessed. As my boss here says, the initiative, we also have the same initiative, Catch Them Young. The younger generation should be taught. They should be well equipped with climate change. If not, they will go on with that ideology that they have. And it will be very difficult to eradicate some of these challenges that we are facing. So as Action for Climate Empowerment is concerned, we aim at integrating climate change into the national school curriculums in the country and other countries at large.
Despite commendable efforts by the Gambia towards climate justice, the nation still faces various challenges, which include limited to financial resources, inadequate infrastructure, and vulnerability to the impacts of climate change.
The Pan-Africa for Climate Justice Alliance, together with its partners, has launched Banjul Week of Action on Climate Change. The ceremony was held at the organization office along the Karaba Avenue on Friday, and it was attended by environmental experts from National Environment Agency and climate change advocates. Usman Bite attended the event and filed in this report.
Climate justice. When do we need it? Right now. What do we want? Climate justice. When do we need it? Right now. What do we want? Climate justice. When do we need it? Right now.
The Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance, PACJA, is a coalition of civil society organizations from across Africa that works on climate change and environmental sustainability issues. It was established in 2008 and has become the leading voice for climate justice on the continent, advocating for the fair and equitable solutions to climate change that take into account the needs and rights of African people. PACJA, with National Environment Agency and civil society organizations, launched Banjul Week of Action on Climate Change. Tuti Harriet Bente Sagnier, the Secretary General of PACJA, has highlighted the effects of the climate change in our farming communities.
In damage each year, small-scale farmers in Africa are being ravaged by unpredictable weather caused by climate change. The effects of climate change in Africa means that some part of the continent will be harvesting 30% less food in the next 10 years. In some part of the continent, the effects of climate change on Africa means that the average temperature has already exceeded the 1.5 degrees Celsius global benchmark. We must be aware that burning fossil, selling or destroying our forests are accelerating climate change in Africa. So climate justice for Africa is an appeal to political sector worldwide to care about the danger climate change poses to Africa. We must continue to create awareness that these political actors must act immediately.
Sheikh Al-Kinki Sanyang is from Environment Agency.
As I've said before, the planet Earth is the only planet where life can exist on this earth. And now we're bent on destroying that planet to an extent that our whole existence on this planet Earth is now even questionable. Let's imagine there has been a lot of noise from many quarters that a meter raise in sea level rise, our capital city is doomed. What will happen with 2-meter rise? And there is no improvement anyhow to say the glaciers that are melting at the North Pole and the South Pole will stop. Because of the temperatures, the increased heat being caused by human activities here.
A youth advocate and negotiator, Abisane, has called on the government of the Gambia through the Ministry of Education to include climate change in our national educational curriculum.
Is concerned, we aim at integrating climate change into the national school curriculums in the country and other countries at large. So for the cases of Gambia, the EVA project was also helping with MOPSI with regards to integrating climate change into our national curriculum. I've learned that they were in progress, and then they also have a draft document that they did, but then it is gradually going, I can say. But then the key as a youth advocate on ACE, and my demand from my country and the government is to integrate climate change into our national curriculum. The kids that are growing up, they need to be aware, they need to be taught, so that at least they can also guide their generation.
Other youth activists and negotiators that have been working with PACJA also talk on the significance of the gathering, and they also lament on the harmful effects of climate change. PACJA plays a critical role in representing the interests of African nations and communities that are often disproportionately affected by climate change. Despite contributing relatively to little global greenhouse gas emissions, the Alliance seeks to ensure that African voices are heard in the global climate conversation. Keep Your Promise campaign is the slogan. Let's mitigate global warming up to 1.5, which is the global target. COP28, Shaping Climatic Policy. PTV News, I am Usman Vite.